Hi, Z's.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Oh, barely got away from work. It's always sucks when there's like a proposal deadline coming up. And also people tend to like come to life at 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon and start sending emails and asking questions. Like, well, you could have asked me that at like 9 a.m. or something.
To be fair, I'm one of those people. I don't ask anyone anything at 9 a.m. I'm not really coherent at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
so,
I get that.
No, I'm part of the problem. So,
whoa, it's Kelly. I thought you'd be in Germany by now.
I leave tomorrow. I get on the plane tomorrow. My flight is at 3 p.m. Central Time out of Chicago, and it's a direct flight. So, not quite yet.
So how long of a flight?
It's like 9.5 hours. And then on the way back is like 10.5 hours because you're going against the wind,
Oh, okay.
Against the jet stream.
9.5 hours. And then when you get there, you've also jumped ahead, what, like 5, 6 hours, 7 hours, something like that?
Yeah, it's like 6 hours ahead of me, 7 ahead of you. So when we get there, it'll be 7 a.m. Germany time. So I need to try to sleep on the plane because, yeah,
I would be ruined.
well,
I cannot sleep on a plane. I can't sleep anywhere but a bed, and even then, it's kind of iffy.
I mean, Jake will be going first class, so he can sleep on the plane. I mean,
oh yeah, that's right. So
yeah, because he's going for work, so like he'll be in like they have these little sleep pods on Lufthansa. It's really nice.
And he didn't upgrade you to first class. You're roughing it by yourself in coach.
Well, here's the thing. For my ticket was $900, which that's not bad. To upgrade it was $7,000.
That's absurd.
That's how much his ticket was. It was $7,000, and
that's absurd.
I just can't.
No. That's.
I mean, would I like to be in first class? Sure, I could use the room. I'm tall, but I'm not that tall. Yeah.
Does he get like a private suite type thing? I've seen those international flights with
pods. Yeah, they're like little pods that like the door closes and yeah.
Mm-hmm. I might almost be able to sleep in that kind of environment, especially with the door closing, maybe.
I mean, I'll try to sleep a little. Otherwise, when I get there, we'll probably take a nap. I mean, so
yeah.
Unfortunately, like our hotel won't be ready right away. So we'll have to just like walk around town for a while. Oh, Jenna says, if everyone hurries up and sends Kelly $7,000, can she still upgrade? I mean, I could upgrade when I'm there. And if they give me sometimes like when you can bid to upgrade and like.
God, what, I mean, still bidding to upgrade, it's going to be thousands more, right?
I don't know. I'd bid $1,000 to upgrade maybe, but
I see that.
I can't justify. Oh, it's so much money, yeah. So, but I'll be fine. I actually can sleep on planes. I can sleep if I'm really tired.
Liuzi, I'm probably saying that wrong. Live Bearers says it's going to be eating and working on the garage today. So that was a new name in chat, and they left a comment on our last stream. They are converting their garage to a fish room with insulation and all.
That's awesome. Garage fish rooms in the Midwest are not as much of a thing unless you have like a heated garage. It's too cold here.
I don't have a garage. I have a carport. So
I don't think you want a carport fish room.
No. I mean, I have a carport pond. It's not under the carport. It's right next to it, though.
Yeah, I don't have a garage either. I don't have one either. I wish I had a garage, but I do not. So
stimulants are cheaper than $7,000. Yes, my Adderall is much cheaper than $7,000.
Yeah, and I'm very sensitive to stimulants. So like one little cup of tea, and I can write like 20 pages. So I'm good. Yeah.
a bunch of caffeine and I can scroll TikTok like a madman.
Yeah, I'll be okay. So, and when I get there, I mean, we'll walk around some, we'll have lunch or breakfast or whatever meal we're on, and then we'll take a nap. I mean, once we get to the hotel, we'll take a nap.
Yeah, and you'll be in Germany. You'll be running on adrenaline, and you'll have so many
Yeah,
fish stores that you have to visit
I
that
don't
you
think I'm
won't
gonna
have
go to
time.
a million fish stores. I'm probably just gonna go to one fish store because, like, there's other things to do there.
Yeah, like other fish stores,
I'm gonna
several.
go to a spa one day. I'm gonna go to Baden-Baden.
I think you could
This is
probably get to one fish store per day. Spend a couple of 3 or 4 hours in there. You got work that into your
the
budget.
thing is I don't really want to go to fish store after fish store after fish store when realistically I can't buy anything.
Yeah.
I can't buy livestock. I can't buy plants. It'll just make me sad. I mean, I'm more likely to go to knitting stores because I can buy yarn. So
Well, that makes me sad, but
I'll probably go to one fish store, one day as something to do.
see, is there
But
still time? Can you grab that horticultural license
I
and
think
get
I
some?
have to get it when I'm there. I would have to get it when I'm
Okay.
there, I think, and I haven't looked into it. I don't think I'm gonna do it. It's just you know,
All right. Well,
that kind of trip.
I'll just be very disappointed. But
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with disappointing you.
if you visit at least one and
I'll
take
go
some
to one.
pictures,
I'll take pictures.
I just
I
want to
mean,
see. I want to know what their baseline fish store looks like too. Like, what is their Petco and PetSmart? It's got to be just
yeah,
several cuts above
I don't
what
know. I
we
feel
have
like
here.
there's really more important things for me to see. There's castles. There are castles,
Is there a
like
fish store in the
lots of
castle?
castles. There are not, but like
Maybe there's fish in the moat.
there's a spa to go to. I'm gonna go to the spa in
Oh, are you
Baden-Baden.
gonna get some Gara to exfoliate?
It's kind of gross. No, I'm not. No, the spa I'm going to has been around since the Roman times, and it has like 17 different stages that you go
Mm.
through, and they like scrub you down first, and then there's like steaming and cold and hot and like vapors, and yeah, I'm gonna do that.
It's a lot of stages.
I know, I
I
know.
feel like some of those stages probably cancel out other stages, but they've just been doing it for so long. It's like, screw it. Let's just do it.
I know. Well, the whole point is that you're like completely relaxed at the end of it. So I like
Okay.
that. And then you get a massage,
Moisturize you, then dry you out, heat you up, cool you
send
down.
you back into the world. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna eat a lot of pastry. That's another plan of mine. So
Yeah, that's a
Bougie
good
Niche
plan.
says Neuschwanstein was really cool. It's kind of far from where I'll be, so I'm not gonna go to that castle. And yes, Jenna, it should be a step up from medieval times. I mean, I hope. So, but yeah, it should be pretty fun. I'm gonna go to a lot of museums. I might go to the zoo in Frankfurt because I like zoos. So
Yeah,
there's a
there
big
you go.
paleontology museum there. I like dinosaurs. So I have not planned anything really other than I bought a train ticket and that's all I've done. I read some books, but I haven't like planned an itinerary or anything.
How much German do you know?
Like none. I mean, I know a few things, like a few words, and a lot of German words are the same as English words.
I mean, nowadays, just you can bring your phone and there's virtual assistants that'll just be your interpreter if you really need something like that.
A lot of people know English there.
Yeah, what I figured.
And Jake speaks German. Jake speaks German really well. So
And Green Machine Sweden says generally European fish stores are independent rather than part of big franchises. Makes them more versatile. Every store is a new experience.
well,
See,
that's
and you're
cool.
just gonna go to one.
I
It's so
mean, I'm
sad.
not really doing this trip for you. I mean, I guess if you want to go to a bunch of German fish stores, like
You're not
maybe
gonna
you
do it a
should go
little
to
bit for
Germany.
me,
I'm going to
just a
one.
little bit.
Maybe I'll go to two. I don't know, but probably just one.
All right.
I don't even go to fish stores in the United States that
Well, I
often.
don't either. But that's why I would go to one in Germany, just because I know that they are, known for having nice fish stores.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're known for having other nice things too, but
they're
I
known for having like really great pastry. I mean,
mhm.
no, I'm really into pastry.
So we had a couple of member milestone chats. So June said hello and thank you for all your help with plants. Member
Oh,
for
hi
33 months.
June. Nice.
And Vibe says Aquashella weekend was great.
Oh, that's so good to hear. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you got to go. That's
Yeah.
cool. Was it Daytona?
Daytona. Yeah, it's Daytona. It seems nice.
Nice.
A
It's a good time of year
picture.
to go to Daytona. I mean,
Now I don't know where it was, like if it was on the beach, but Tim posted a picture of the hotel and it looked
I
like it was
saw
just
that.
right there
It
on the
looked
beach. I don't know if that
really
was just his
nice.
hotel
Yeah.
that he got, but
And I saw he's going to see Grant and Shelby, so that's really cool.
and his flight got delayed again. I swear that dude has the
Oh,
worst luck. He got delayed going to the Clash, I think because of work though. And
yeah.
I think he couldn't go to Chicago because like the flight got canceled.
Oh God, that's awful. I mean, I've had my share of late flights,
Yeah.
missed connections. This tomorrow's a direct flight, so unless they cancel it, we should be okay. And it doesn't matter if it's late; like that's
Mhm.
fine. It's just one flight, so and
Right.
yeah, they can delay it a couple hours. I don't care.
Yeah. No big deal. You'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, and Jake doesn't have to work until Monday, but
So, are you doing some water changes right before you leave, or
I did
not
last
worrying about it?
night. I did
Okay.
last night. I did water changes on everything. So, because I just didn't think I'd have time to do it today, because I had an appointment, and you know, just too many other things to do. We still haven't packed.
Mm.
It's
Are y'all
yeah.
packing tonight or tomorrow?
We're gonna pack tonight.
Makes
So
sense.
I mean, it's just clothes. I mean, as long as like all your laundry is done, which it is, it's pretty easy to pack. So kind of disease do I I do always get sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what disease I'll bring back. I mean, I've had a lot of vaccines. That helps. I got my new COVID shot. I got my flu shot. I'm I'm up to date on my pneumococcus vaccine, but I'm really sickly. So, and Jake won't get a thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's always food poisoning.
Oh, there's always food poisoning. Yeah, I'm great at that. So, and we could eat the exact same things, and Jake will not get it. I've never gotten sick going to Louisiana. No food poisoning and no colds. So, knock on
Good.
wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So J Rock has a non-aquatic plant question. It's the time of
Okay.
year that plants hibernate. How does one know if a plant is hibernating or
Yeah.
is dying?
Speaking of, I tore down the ponds on Saturday. That was a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
work. We still have not had a hard frost here. Um, and so that I could have left them running, but I needed to get it done before I left.
Yeah.
Water lilies were still blooming. I put a picture up on the Discord. Um,
Cool.
so i- if you've had a hard frost, things can go into dormancy if they're hardy plants, if they can tolerate frost. So, not like, for instance, I don't know, like petunias. Okay,
Hmm.
they're dead once it frosts. They're not going into dormancy, they're just dead. But if it's perennial in your climate, it's probably just asleep if you've had a frost. If it is completely bone dry, it's probably dead because you didn't water it. It just depends. Different plants look different when they're in hibernation. So the difference between a perennial and a shrub is a shrub has woody stems and those don't die back to the ground. You have you still have the branches above the ground, but your perennials will die completely back. So like things like purple comb flowers or baptisia or anything like that, they will completely die to the ground, and I don't cut those back. I leave the leaves because it's places where beneficial insects will lay their eggs, and it gives them a place to overwinter. And if you have seeds left on some of your flowers, the birds can eat it, and it's habitat for them. So I wouldn't cut that back until spring when you do a
So it's just
cleanup.
a matter of like knowing what plants do what, and like
Yeah, you kind of got to know your plants, and sometimes something will have gone into dormancy, but if your winter is a little too hard and it's not ready yet, it won't make it. That just happens. Sometimes
so he specified house plants like Camilla, Pink Angel, Fittonia.
so Photonia, if they don't really go into dormancy, they just kind of die. Yeah. Camilla, ugh, they have yeah, I mean, I've never grown that before, so I can't
Me either.
tell you, but I think it loses its leaves in the fall. So it would look like any other tree does, and you just have to wait for it to come back.
Yeah, so you don't really do much during the winter when it's dormant or dead or whatever. And just
No.
like Green Machine said, you'll know come spring something will
Yeah,
happen
exactly.
or nothing will happen.
Camellia, it's not really I mean, they're both shrubs. They're pretty distantly related, the two of them, but you would treat them the same way in the winter as long as it's hardy for your zone. And you can look on the tag what the zone is. You can look online what it is. So, like for instance, if it's a proven winners plant, you can go on proven winners site and look that up. And then you can look on USDA what your grow zone is. So, for instance, I'm zone 6A, and see if it's hardy there. And if it's hardy there, it should be okay. Now, if it's not hardy there and you're trying to cheat, there are things you can do. You can pile straw around the base of it, or other mulch to like leaves to try to insulate it a bit. Some people, like I've heard of people like trying to grow fig trees, which are not hardy up here, and they'll pile a bunch of straw around them and wrap them in burlap to keep them warm for the winter. And sometimes you can cheat and get away with that. So it just depends what zone you're in, if it's appropriate.
Yeah, it
But
sounds like a lot of work.
yeah, I mean, I think it's just a lot easier to grow things that are appropriate for your grow zone. Make your life easy. And native plants are a great thing to grow too, because they're adapted to your climate, and the wildlife is adapted to use that plant too. So you're supporting wildlife.
Mm.
How can I make crypt flower? Well, that's the $37 million question. I mean, there are some people that think you can trick them if you set your Fluval settings to X% this and X% that, and I don't really
No, I've
buy
never heard
that.
that one.
Oh, well, there's a certain YouTuber who thinks you can, but
I've had one crypt that flowers underwater, and just one, and
the
I have
Rosen Maiden.
and I have like 20 something species of crypts, or have had at one point.
Yeah, it's.
Nurii.
I have had lutea flower. So I haven't found that photoperiod tricks them in any way. If they're immersed, that helps them to flower. I will say that crypt flowers are universally really ugly. And when I saw one flower, I just cut it off because they're ugly. So, I mean, don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Like in all the world of beautiful flowers they are among the ugliest.
Unless they're trying to
So,
get it to flower so that they can identify it definitively because it
well,
looks
that's
like
true.
every
But
other crypt.
even then, like unless you dissect that flower and can like look at the pollen grains under a microscope, you still might not be able to tell. So
Yeah. So I mean, in as far as like how the Nurii Rosen Maiden flowers for me, I just have it. That's real. Like I fertilize
yeah,
and fertilize some more. Because I mean, it definitely needs nutrients to flower.
Some things just flower a lot. If you want to see flowers in your tank, I would say Anubias nana flowers all the time.
My boost is starting to flower
yeah.
again, and there's no rhyme or reason for that either.
Do you have any flowers right now? I don't see any right now, which is uncommon. Usually I'll have 4 or 5 flowers on it, and I do nothing to promote it.
Yeah, Anubias flowers for me are less common. Like I don't see them as much as you see in Anubias flowers. It's weird.
Mine flowers all the time, and not a petite, a little less. And part of that is I just have so much Anubias that I have a lot of chances for flowers. But so those flower a lot. Really, most of our aquarium plants have very boring flowers, except for Pogostemon erectus.
And that's not an immerse. I mean, that's an immerse
It'll
flower,
only
right?
flower out of the water, but like I would
Right.
totally. I've tried to grow it and it melted outside, unfortunately. But I would totally grow that just for the flowers. In fact, otherwise I wouldn't grow it at all because I don't like stem plants, and it's kind of a stem plant. It's not that exciting, but it has incredible looking, very showy purple flowers.
Yeah, that's the other thing is our Aponogeton crispus will not calm the fuck down with the flowers. It is like constant, and they're not that great looking either. They're trying to poke their way through the cracks in the lids, and there's like 4 of them at once, and they're just stabbing the light underneath. And like, what's the point? Why are they doing this?
When I had a Aponogeton ulvaceus, it would flower quite a bit too. So, but again, not really like anything to write home about. I don't know. I grow so many flowers outside, and I even have a lot of flowers inside. Like I have all my African violets and my streptocarpus. Those are a lot prettier when they flower. I just don't grow aquarium plants for flowering. So
yeah, I mean the boost flower is neat when you see it at first, and then they're constant. And then there's the theory that the boost is only flowering because it really, really hates being underwater, and it's just like desperate to reproduce and send pollen downstream so that like maybe it finds a better place to live. But joke's on you, you're stuck in a tank. Haha. I don't know if that's the truth though, like if that's why it flowers.
Yeah.
Sure does like the flower though.
And the thing is, this is like, it's not a bad idea if you're trying to really propagate a plant to cut those flowers off, because it's putting energy into making flowers. It's not putting energy into growing more leaves. And I'm growing these things for leaves, not for flowers. Now, one exception is when crypts propagate, they'll send up a flower stalk great this. And there will be flowers at the top of this, but there will also be a little plantlet. And I'm trying to propagate this sword just so I can give it to Dee Dee. If it weren't for the fact that I know that Dee Dee wants it, I would just cut this off and not care about it, because I don't think it's very good looking, honestly.
Yeah, and it's using up resources.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to get this sword any bigger, so it doesn't really matter. But, I know Dee Dee really wants that sword, so.
Is that that tank one of your fluvels died?
Yep, one of them died. I still haven't decided what to do, but it's just gonna have to wait till I get back from Germany. And the more I thought about it, I can't buy a light when I'm in Germany either, because how am I gonna get it home unless
4-foot suitcase?
Yeah, I don't have a 4-foot suitcase. My suitcase is probably not even 3 feet. So, I mean, unless I like check it separately and like wrap it, but paying for a checked bag is like $75. And so it's like, oh, well, at that point, I might as well just buy something in the United States. So, unless something really blew my mind, I don't think I'm going to buy a light there. I mean, I don't think I'm going to buy anything at the fish store I go to there, just because I don't know what I can buy. So
I saw this comment by Dee Dee. My fluvels did not reset Saturday night.
Oh, mine didn't either. They never do. They never do.
So
you have to manually do that for
my $8 smart plugs, no problem. My $400 weak aqua light, you gotta go into the app manually. Same with Chihiro, same with the fluvels.
Yep. Yeah, the Casa that automatically reset That's what I have my CO2 on, is a Casa
Hmm.
Smart plug. But yeah. So, and Bougie Fish says, not to mention a German light
Yeah.
wouldn't have the correct plug. But look what I have. I
Adapter.
have an adapter somewhere. I don't know where I put it, but I better find it because I need to take it with me. Oh, here it is. Dun, dun, dun.
Nice.
Adapter. This is what the plugs look like. They're really weird. Isn't that
Oh
weird?
yeah.
Yeah.
I when I buy, I haven't in a while, but I used to buy like the international versions of smartphones, just buy them outright, and they were usually a couple $100s cheaper to get the international version, and it always came with a plug like that. But you just
Yeah.
get a separate charger, separate adapter for them.
My hydroponic wall also, well, it came with an adapter. So, but yeah, the light it came with was European light. Now, did that matter? That light sucked. I mean, I had to turn every single light off to even see it lit up, and it was so dim. I don't think I could have like read a book by it. Oh, someone's meowing. Oh, some meowing.
Bougie's got like 50 of the Casa plugs. I have Casa plugs. I have Govee. I have GoSund, and like 3 or 4 different brands of smart power strips, and some of them use that same smart home app, but then others have to use a different app. It's a mess. But yeah, I
I
have a
only
lot of
have the
different ones.
Casa ones because I don't want to learn how to use anything else. So the Casa ones seem to work good. Yeah, some meow. That's Schnitzel. Oh yeah. There you go, Mr. Meow.
Yeah,
He's
Fat
getting
Kitty would be
fat.
much more vocal.
That's not Fat Kitty. That's Schnitzel, Matt. I tried to catch Fat Kitty earlier, but he's like, no, that's not what we're doing. Schnitzel of the cats is most okay with being picked up because I met him as a baby kitten and I turned him into a very friendly cat. So
Nice.
and he's getting fat. He stole a stick of butter and he ate half of it before I caught him, and he was fine. Can you imagine, like,
Oh my god.
can you imagine, like, the equivalent for you of how much butter that would be? That would
It's a
be
lot
like
of
just eating like 10 sticks of butter.
It's a lot of butter, and if any of our dogs ate that same amount of butter, they would. I mean, they'd be fine, but yeah.
You know, I had a not a Bichon Frise, a Maltese. He was 13 pounds, named Calby, and I was making this bread for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and I had 2 cups of cream measured out on the counter, and I knocked it over, and he licked all of that up, and he was fine. Like, how does a dog that small lick up 2 cups of heavy cream and not be sick? It was, yeah.
So, just a safety advisory from Green Machine Sweden. The plug you showed is not a non-grounded plug. Would not plug a 110-volt device into a 220-volt socket using a non-grounded
I mean,
adapter.
the only thing I'm going to plug into it is my phone charger. So I don't use hair dryers. So like, it's just got to run my phone charger and that's it. So it should be fine.
I imagine, or it seems like it would be a wasted opportunity that hotels would sell adapters like that too. Like
Well,
if
you
you
would
needed,
think that they would just have them in the room because,
yeah.
like, I mean, this hotel, like, pretty much exists for people who are staying there to come to Roche because Roche employs 14,000 people. So lots of people from Roche International are coming in to stay at this hotel.
Okay.
So, but yeah, this is the same adapter Jake uses. It's fine. Nothing burnt down. I don't care. It's only charging my phone. I'm just living on the edge here. It'll
That's
be
cool.
fine.
Just
Yeah.
don't take a bath with your phone, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, Does my plug adapter have a step down transformer? I don't know what that is, so probably not. I don't know. It was $6 on Amazon, so
Please check if your phone charger has right. Yeah, electricity scares the shit out of me. I outsource electricity knowledge to other people, and I'm like, my dad will change a ceiling fan without shutting off the power in the house, and I'm just like, I don't take any risk like that at all.
I'm going to take a risk with this phone charger or with this adapter. It'll be just fine. I'm going to check nothing. I'm going to use it. And that's that. Yeah.
Well, all right.
I know. It's for charging a phone.
I don't know enough to know whether.
Yeah. I'm not doing anything high powered on it. It will be fine. So.
Ed's here.
Well, hi, Ed.
You have a plant question, Ed? Then we won't hear from Kelly until she gets back.
Oh, I mean, I'll put pictures on the Discord of Germany.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I'll put pictures from Germany. You know, you can see all the pastries I'm eating.
Oh, yeah.
Excited about that.
So, one of the things I got in the mail, in addition to the Boost Brownie Rainbow Pony stickers, whatever it's called, I got Ludwigia sphaerocarpa, and it's growing. It's going it's a tissue culture. It seems to be growing in a positive direction.
All right.
I know it's not like it's not a common Ludwigia. I tried a mini version of sphaerocarpa years ago when my CO2 was just in the sort of quasi not quite optimal range, and this did not do well at all. So
yeah,
hoping I got that dialed in now.
Hopefully that'll look good. I don't think I've ever grown that one, but I don't really grow a lot of stems. So
right now it's just green, but we'll see. It looks like
Matt wants to know, what is that long neck light on the tank behind you? I think I need one. My aquarium light on risers isn't high enough for the immersed plants. So
you just got that, didn't you?
Yeah, I have 2 of them, and they're little like clip-on lights. See, there's the clip right there, and they have like little goosenecks. They were really cheap. I got these on Amazon. They're just clip-on plant lights. They were like, I think it was like $20. The annoying thing about it, though, is I had to buy an extension cord because this cord won't reach to the power strip below my tank.
That's dumb.
So it's like now a $20 plant or light is now $30 because I had to buy an extension cord. So, but I mean, these do work really well. They have a timer built into them that's either, you can set it for either 8 hours, 12 hours, or 16 hours. I set it for 12 hours because that's fine. This is immersed plants.
Yeah, and then the one on your tank, is that the same thing?
Same thing. Yep, I got 4 of them, and they're to just help grow those a little better. So there is some sunlight that comes in through here, but this is a north-facing window, and my neighbor's garage is across the way, and we don't get any sunlight here between November 1st and about April 30th. So we're in the dark times. So I just got those lights to help grow things a little better. And I already see a difference. They've been on there 2 weeks. And yeah.
Okay, I'm checking Amazon.
Yeah, that's about what I got. That 2024 upgraded plant light, the clip-on one. They make lots of styles of plant lights on Amazon. I've used lots of them. They all work pretty much the same.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to post a link, but it seems like you can there's a billion different brands.
Yeah, and they're just cheapo little lights. There's nothing
big names like Gooing Top and Sansi.
They're nothing fancy, but you don't need the amount of power that you do for a tank light, because you're not trying to penetrate water. You're trying to penetrate
and you just have that light
right
right there on the plant.
Yeah, and you just don't need a lot of brightness. Also, the plants that I'm growing are tropical houseplants. They are adapted to grow on the forest floor of tropical climates. So they just don't need a ton of light. So those will be just fine. And honestly, I've already seen a difference just in a couple weeks of putting them there. So yeah, it's Alex says if I'm a carnivore, the worst sausages are pretty amazing. So I do eat meat. I'm not a huge carnivore. Like I'm an omnivore, but I don't eat a lot of meat during the week. But I do eat meat. So and I do eat sausages, like I do eat like bratwurst or vice versa. So I'll probably have some of it, but like I'm more excited about pastries than I am about meat. Just because I'm not a huge carnivore. So
I enjoy piles of meat
you're more of a
in
carnivore than
various
me.
forms.
Yeah.
I would be excited about that, and potatoes and pastries too. Like
Yeah.
I
I mean, I'm not saying I won't enjoy it, but like
food in general, like just all
yeah,
food.
I do like to eat, and I'm looking forward to the German cuisine. Jake said it was pretty good, but Jake is not a good judge of anything because Jake doesn't taste his food. I mean, he just inhales it. he just he just wants quantity. So, but he said the food was really good. And I mean, I've seen like a lot of the pastries and stuff, so I'm excited about that. But I'll try lots of
Corey,
new things.
Corey's here, and he doesn't have power
You
because
don't
the
have power. Oh
apparently the wind's picking
no.
up in the P&W.
Wow. Same here. Really windy here. But we don't lose power really much at all. So, well, I hope you get your power back. And in the meantime, we'll keep you company. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Zenny says she would need a seasonal affective disorder light. I have one of those, and it does really make a difference. I have one that I use it instead of an alarm clock because it comes on like a half hour before I need to wake up because the sun doesn't rise here until like 9 o'clock at certain times of the year, and I have to get up for work before that, and so it's it's difficult to wake up without sunlight, and it's very dark here. I mean, and
I didn't have one that was linked to an alarm clock. I just had a regular one that you have to like make a
yeah,
conscious effort to turn it on. And like most routines, I couldn't stick to it. But
yeah,
I did notice getting fish tanks and getting bright ass lights on
I think it
planted
helps.
tanks has
Yeah,
helped a lot. And
I
then
think it
of course
helps.
getting the pond makes me, and also dogs makes me go
Yeah,
outside at least for like 5 minutes. So it's
yeah.
that helps as well.
I mean, I still do go outside, but the truth is like the days are really short right now. It's getting close to winter, and
Yeah, our winters are not nearly as like sad as yours.
yeah, I'm a lot farther north too. I mean that there's just a lot less light. So I take vitamin D supplements between the equinoxes just so I can, stay healthy. And yeah, I mean it's not easy. I mean, there's a reason I have to go on a tropical trip every January. And it's because I get really depressed. So the
Yeah.
fun of living in a northern climate. And we're not even that far north compared to like where Corey is. Like that's a lot further north than I am. So the days get really, really short there.
But also really, really long because there were
Yeah.
times in the summer streaming with a net where it's like we
Mhm.
end the stream and
Still light out.
it's
Yeah.
still daylight. Ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trade-off. I love those long days though. I think it's really and you feel like you have so much day.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
So Christine Lamont, that's a new name. Just want to say welcome as well as
Welcome.
to Corey Dora. So just noticed there was a
Nice.
live stream. So
Nice.
Andy said, have you guys heard if there are any plants used in the aquarium trade that would benefit from having an immersed period, which would be
Yeah.
similar to a dry season?
I mean, that's a really interesting point. I'm not aware of any. I don't think they would be very popular in the aquarium trade if that were the case, because people would be like, "Oh, why are my plants dying? I better plant more." Oh, and really, they just need to be dormant. There are probably some that need to be immersed to flower. That's true of many of them. But no, I'm not aware of any. That's a really good question though. I suspect they
Yeah.
wouldn't make it far in the trade.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, Aponogetans are kind of like that, but we can usually trick them into staying alive for most of the year. I think the
Yeah.
Madagascar lace leaf is just kind of, I don't know. I never
We
really
don't
got
like
that
to
one to
get
be
hot.
super happy from. Yeah.
I just think for you, like, I mean, I know you air condition your house, but there gets to a point in the summer where
The
your
air
water
conditioner is fighting an uphill battle
and
in the
your
midst
water
of
changes
July.
are hot too. You can't do cold water changes even. So, and
Yeah.
I get to the point too because my air conditioning is not very good. I have air conditioning, but my house is drafty. So, I mean, my tanks will get up to 80 degrees and, you know, Madagascar lace and Aponogetans just don't like that. They want to be cooler. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most plants are supposed to have that dry season. Like most of the plants that are in the aquarium trade have that dry season in nature. They're
Yeah.
just what we're doing is in an aquarium is just tricking them into living the rest of their lives underwater.
Yeah. And like I said, we're not growing things for flowers. And
Yeah.
really, that's the most important part of a plant's life cycle that we're just ignoring.
Propagate. Yeah, reproduce in
We're just
those.
ignoring it.
Yep.
So that's my guess is like you would really need that dry season to get them to flower. And if you think about it, that makes sense. The dry season is hard times. And a lot of organisms are driven to reproduce because of hard times, because having more genetic variation through sexual reproduction is beneficial for colonizing new habitats. So during times of trouble. So
So Kelly, you have kept infinitely more lilies than I have.
I have most of the ones I've kept are outside. So I've only kept the one that's called tiger lotus, which is not a lotus. It's a nymphaea. It's a water lily. And I don't keep it anymore because I got tired of it outgrowing a 90-gallon tank. It's too much. It's meant to be a 10-foot spread tropical water lily. It's really hard to keep it small, especially if you inject CO2. So
Mhm.
I have not grown Nymphaea micrantha. I've seen it. It's cute. Um, if it actually stays small and submersed, I'd be interested in it. But I'm more into growing nymphaeas outside because
Big lily pads,
oh well, and
big
also
flowers.
flowers.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I mean, I grew some nymphaea last year. Well, I just they would still be flowering today if I hadn't pulled that plant. The flowers were this big around. They flowered every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 flowers a day, and they smelled amazing. They smelled like kind of like grape jasmine. I mean, it was really, really a delicious scent. And they were blue and they were beautiful. And it was really, really fun. So, whereas the nymphaea I grew in here, I would describe as a not fun experience because it invaded my entire tank and completely took it over. And it took months to pull the last little runner out. So, less fun of an experience.
So as Alec points out, Bulbitis, Anubias, Bucephalandra
Yeah.
all spend part of the year immersed in nature. I think, well, I
Yeah,
mean, so there are
lots
very
of
few
too.
of aquarium plants that we have in the trade that don't
Yeah,
spend part of their time immersed in nature.
yeah. So
But
like
I think, like,
Val, Blixa,
right,
yeah.
and Elodia, I guess,
Yeah, yeah, there are a few. There are a
the
few, but
Naja,
yeah, not just grass. Yeah. So I mean, there are some, but most things were making vaguely unhappy growing them in a
yeah,
tank, which is why injecting CO2 is the way to go
yeah.
because they want to grow out of your tank so they can finally have enough CO2.
And what I think, like people, because I mean, injecting CO2 is like an additional variable, it's additional risk, but
Yeah.
like we are sort of kind of mimicking what happens in nature in a lot of areas where the plants
Mhm.
are really growing super lush and are submersed because like a pressurized CO2 rich aquifer in a river is basically letting in CO2 at a steady state and keeping it like 30 ppm of CO2 in a river,
Yeah,
which you
so
don't think about that being something that's natural.
yeah, so the famous example is the Pantanal in
Hmm.
Brazil. It's like an underground forest, and there's so
Yeah.
many beautiful plants that are there. It's has naturally 20 or 30 ppm of CO2. The San Marcos River in Texas, which is where I've been there, I highly recommend it. It's goes by San Marcos State University. You can go creek stomping through there. It's a beautiful place to spend a March day. You'll be warm, but not, it's just really beautiful. You can collect plants there. You can see a lot of invasive plecos. That's not as good, but it's really, really cool. And it's clear water with like white sand. It's really amazing. And then in Wisconsin, Lake Wingra, which is in Madison. So that's a lake and it's cold, but you can see the bubbles coming up out of the ground. And there's lots of springs in Madison. And that's because, so it's on limestone, and organic acids seep into the cracks of the limestone and it liberates CO2 and it bubbles out of it. And it's really cool. So, and Zenny points out the Schlitterbahn, which is in Germany.
Schlitterbahn,
There's
yeah.
no plants though because there's chlorine. Well, that's not
Well,
good.
Schlitterbahn, Texas. There's a few
Oh,
locations in Texas, water park.
I thought that was the
Um,
one in Germany. It's a
I
German
mean, it
place.
is a German name.
Yeah.
There has to be one there. Like, why wouldn't there be? But yeah, I've been to the one that is. I've been to a couple of them, actually, maybe three of them. I don't know. Jenna
Yeah.
knows where I've been. I outsourced my memories to her. Uh, so let's see. The next question, Scotty has a kitten question. Speaking of which, he's going to be going live at 6 o'clock
All right.
Central, and hopefully he'll have a kitten with him that is not hiding from him. But he wants to know if Mac, which is the name of the cat, attacks succulents or carnivorous plants. Will he be okay? That's all I have. He hasn't discovered them yet.
It depends. It depends on what he attacks. I mean, Fat Kitty, he's a murderer of plants. They somehow know what's going to poison them or not, but he's a young kitten and young kittens do make bad choices sometimes. I mean, pets make bad choices. He'll probably be okay. For your carnivorous plants, I would put them under like a plastic dome, or like put them in a tank with a lid on, a dry empty tank with a lid on them, mostly because they're going to appreciate that habitat anyways. They need a high humid environment, and it's about to get really, really dry where you live because you're going to have your heat on, and it's our climate is really dry in the winter. They're not going to be very happy. Also, your carnivorous plants, just to give you a heads up in case you didn't know this, they will go dormant for the winter. A lot of them, they come from temperate climates that go dormant every winter. So like Venus flytraps, pitcher plants, they will go dormant.
Those are the two carnivorous plants that I know that I can name, or those two.
Yeah. I mean, there's also pitcher plants. They have different shaped pitchers. They're not evolutionarily related, that come from South America. So that's a very different climate. But the Sarracenia, those pitcher plants that have like the long, skinny pitchers, those come from temperate climates. Like I saw them when I was in Nova Scotia in the bogs there. It was really, really cool. So Mac will probably make good decisions, but he may not. Some pets make bad choices. Fat Kitty makes a lot of bad choices. He'll probably be okay. Um, you can always look up what plants are poisonous to cats and decide if you want to keep those or not. I know that lily flowers are a famous example of things that are poisonous to cat, but I
Yeah.
will say that I have
Pothos too, which is one that I worry
yeah,
about because we have an elderly cat right now, but I figured sometime along the line we're going to have a kitten again, and I got all this pothos growing out of tanks,
yeah,
and
I
I worry
mean,
a little bit about that.
They seem to know what they shouldn't chew on or not. Like, there are lots of lilies growing outside, and there are tons of outdoor cats. And I don't see cats dropping dead all the time from like eating
Yeah, I
lilies.
guess there's like a degree of
They
toxicity
know.
too. Like, how many pothos leaves do they
Right,
have to bite or eat or whatever
right.
to suffer acute toxicity from it?
And a famous example is so Dieffenbachia, which is known as dumb cane, like dumb like can't speak. Well, it's called that because
It numbs their mouth.
well, it has crystals of oxalic acid. So
Ugh.
oxalic acid is what's in spinach and it makes your teeth feel kind of gritty when you eat it.
Mm.
So, but it has like big crystals of them. And so like this woman, she was a botany TA for a class I took. One of their dogs in Puerto Rico got into it and ate a bunch of the Dieffenbachia, and her poor mouth was all swollen up and it was
Ugh.
okay, but I would not worry about your pothos. My cats don't see, I mean, Fat Kitty loves destroying houseplants, doesn't seem to care about pothos. What they really like are grassy plants. So I had this really beautiful ponytail palm, which is a kind of Dracaena. Oh, totally shredded it. Totally shredded it. Yeah. So I would just watch your cat for now and see. You might be okay. Not every cat will get into them. Now, some cats, what they will do is they like to poop in plants. That's annoying. So you'll just have to see what your cat is inclined to do. Every cat likes to get into trouble in different ways. Means, like none of my cats want to jump on the counter. All of a sudden, Schnitzel likes to jump on the counter and steal sticks of butter and eat them.
And
That's
maybe is a
new.
bad influence on the other cats.
I don't know. They're so fucking lazy and they're not very food motivated. So, but Schnitzel is food motivated and is trying to get rid of
Mm.
fat. And so, why not eat a stick of butter? So, I mean, you'll just have to see what your cat does. So,
So Uncle Smiley would like to know, should root tabs be added as close to the base of the plant as possible or a little bit away?
I mean, I don't know. I don't like it touching like I mean, just kind of buy it is good enough. Like it doesn't really matter. So you have
I
to
mean,
think about like the stem portion of the plant is not what matters. It's the roots that are underneath it. That's what's taking up the nutrients. So if you just kind of put it kind of close to it, roots will get to it. I mean, you know,
generally, if I'm starting a tank that has inert substrate, I just do sort of like a grid of root tabs, and then
yeah,
and then I never
it's
add root
green
tabs
part.
again because I forget,
Yeah,
and I just use water
yeah.
column fertilization.
Yeah, I do exclusively water column fertilization. I mean, if I'm setting up a new tank, even with aqua soil, I might put some root tabs in there for crypts,
But
but I don't really worry about it.
and I mean, root tabs are not like extra potent or anything because they are designed for an aquarium. But like
Yeah.
some people do those DIY root tabs, and I can see how a capsule of concentrated fertilizer could burn the roots.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it depends what you're making them out of. I don't recommend making your own root tabs, but
no,
people use Osmocote, which I use for my terrestrial plants. It's a good fertilizer. It's a slow release fertilizer and it lasts for several weeks until it's gone. And you can't really burn your plants with it. So it's not really an issue. But, I wouldn't put it like right next to the stem. I put it like an inch or two away, maybe. So
yeah, I haven't thought about it too much. I mean, I don't like put it directly under the plant, but like next to it, sort of. Been
yeah.
okay.
So Bougie asks, do y'all have any tips for Blixa japonica? Mine is so sad and unhappy. Not sure if moving it would help or if I just don't have the right water. Japonica. There's some right there. It's real happy. I also have Blixa obertia over here. See this tall, grassy stuff? That's Blixa obertii. And the number one thing Blixa needs is it's a plant that it needs CO2.
Yeah, it definitely does. It does better in softer water, high carbon availability. And I've been testing it. You know how I have that Pogo Dasin in the
Yeah.
low tech tank, and I have some Blixa japonica next to it. The Blixa is It's been there for a couple of months. It's still there. It's not looking sad, but it is not growing at all.
Yeah.
Like it is just. So it's either it's gonna do something eventually, and I don't know what direction it's gonna go in. But
I mean, maybe you can get away with it if you have really, really low KH.
that's what I'm thinking. It's just like that carbon excess.
Yeah, I have average KH. My KH is 6, so my water is medium hard. If you have KH1 out of the tap, maybe you can get it to grow without CO2 injection. But like, I really think that's a plant that just needs CO2. Like that and Monte Carlo, they just need CO2. And if you give it CO2, it's pretty easy to grow. It does need some fertilization. If you want it to turn nice and pink, it needs some decent light, but it just really needs CO2. So,
Bougie, what is your KH in your water?
yeah.
Said I put it in my Episto tank, which I get maybe that's a softer water tank.
Maybe the Epistos are
Potentially.
uprooting it too, but I really need CO2.
Well, if it dies and you want more and you're gonna start injecting CO2 or like creating a better environment for it, I am inundated with it at this point. I'm just like shoving it in other tanks with CO2 injection.
And it's a plant I'm always going to have because I love it. It's such a great little mid-ground plant.
Yeah.
It doesn't grow too fast. It doesn't get too big. It's pretty. Like, I'm always going to have it. So if you start injecting CO2, someone can get you some. So Zenny asks if my crypts, not the pink flamingo,
regular crypts, normal crypts,
crypts for mortals, are growing up in the back and the diffuser is getting covered, do I need to move it? Yeah. If so, the leaves aren't collecting the bubbles and it stays diffused in the water. So, I mean, so I've had this happen before, you know, when I've used diffusers. If you have a leaf growing up over the diffuser and the bubbles are getting caught up there and it forms like one mega bubble that just goes bloop to the top, like that's doing you no good.
Yeah, that's wasted CO2.
So you either need to trim that leaf, move the crypts, move the diffuser, something, but you're not.
I got so tired of optimizing diffusion that I just opened the freaking needle valve. Like that's just
what or like in my case, I just do everything inline, either a reactor or a diffuser. I prefer diffusers because I like to see the bubbles, and some plants maybe prefer the bubbles. Like that's what Tom Barr suggests, that misting CO2 is better. So, but I like the bubbles. But either way, inline is the way to go. They're maintenance free. For instance, I just tore apart this tank. That diffuser had been on there for 4 years. We took it out. I cleaned the tubes of it, but the fritted glass, which is what makes the mist inside it, was just fine. Just fine. So no real need for maintenance in 4 years. Whereas, you know, little in tank diffuser, you've got to clean those up like what, every month. So
it depends how much light it's getting and how dialed in the tank is. But yeah, they can get pretty clogged, especially when it's a new tank. Like I've had one that had like 3 types of algae on it, which was just amazing. Like blackbeard on the edges and green spot in the middle and like tangled up in hair algae.
Yeah, so I just really inline is the way to go. It's a pain in the ass to set up for the first time because you've got to plumb it into your you know, filter outflow. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. All right, Foxanne has a pitcher plant question. She got it as a baby. It's grown. Its bottom leaves have fallen off, but now the bottom of them, so it's starting. The dirt is wobbly. Okay, so that tells me it's maybe rotting at the base. It's probably not good. So is it a Sarracenia or is it Neptha? Nepanthes? That's the tropical kind that has like the little pendant shape. They look kind of penisy. Those kind of pitchers, those are tropical. But if it's the Sarracenia, the kind that has the long, skinny pitchers that grow up from like a little rosette. So if the rosette is rotting at the base, it's probably not savable. It's probably dying. If the pitcher just died, it's probably okay. They do go dormant. They're supposed to live outdoors. It depends on where your particular pitcher is from. But they were growing in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia has a climate about like here. They do have winters. So that's a normal thing for them to do. But if it's wobbly at the base of the rosette, like if that rosette is rotting, I don't know what you can do. Pitcher plants, and this is true for all carnivorous plants, need to be watered with extremely low TDS water, which I think is what your tap water is like, Foxanne. So that's good. But
Yeah.
I would have to buy distilled water, like a jug of it, from the grocery store to water my carnivorous plants with. So it's not a bad idea to do that anyways, because it's not a huge expense to pick up one of those gallons at the grocery store just to water that plant. So, and they don't want to be fertilized. They don't really like to be repotted often. They like really poor soil because they come from bogs that are acidic, like peat bogs. So I'm not sure if there's anything you can do. Best case scenario, it just wants to go dormant for the season. And I would put it in a cooler place, not necessarily outside in the Wisconsin winter. But, if you could put it like in a garage maybe, or your basement where it's going to be cooler, that's a good thing to do. All right, follow up. That's why I specified not the pink flamingos, because I could just move the crypts. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the moving other crypts. They may melt back, but they'll actually come back. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're regular crypts. Yeah. Just move them. That's just part of having that kind of diffuser, is like pruning around it so the flow is good. So.
Yeah, and there will be noticeable decline in plants whenever I realize, I haven't cleaned an in-tank diffuser in months, and now everything's looking a little bit sadder. I'm getting a little bit more algae. It's like, oh well, my CO2 is not optimized at all anymore.
Okay, so Foxian says that the pitcher plant is Envetii times Bacchana platicilla. Okay, so that's the tropical kind. I've never grown the tropical ones before, but it's not going to go dormant. Okay, it is growing new leaves with pitchers all the time, but the base is very unstable, no rot. Is it getting enough light? Maybe it needs a little bit more light. We're getting into the dark times. It's dark up there in Wisconsin. Maybe your window light is not quite enough. You could try getting one of these cheap little Amazon clip-on lights. They really do work. I would not repot it. I would not fertilize it, but I would try another light maybe.
Man, that seems complicated with those pitcher plants. I every time I read about them, like my eyes glaze over with all of the stuff that people say that they require to be like in perfect condition, or even to keep them alive in some cases.
If I do another biorb, which if I see one on sale next time I go shopping there, because they're discontinuing that model, I think I'm going to do one just for carnivorous plants, because the biorb is a really good habitat for them. Actually, it's got constant humidity. And I'll water it just with distilled water that I buy from the grocery store, because my tap water is just too hard.
So Michael B, unless that is the Mike B that we know, this could be also a new name. Can a dirted tank capped with sand that is too fine prevent pearlweed from converting? I suspect that in my case. I don't think that has anything to do with it.
That's got nothing to do with it.
Pearlweed can be kind of finicky when converting, and once it's converted, it's literally lives up to its name as a weed.
You can't kill it. What I would suggest is buying it from a hobbyist.
Yeah.
As opposed, get it at a club auction, or Plantic Tank Quick Auctions has stuff for not usually pearlweed, but some others. I would try to get it from a hobbyist because it'll already be converted, and then it should be really, really easy for you. And it can just grow floating too. You know, you don't
Yeah,
even,
so I'm
you know,
thinking like I don't think that the nutrients and the substrate are really having an impact on whether it converts or not.
I mean, it'll just make it grow faster even, and it's a weed.
Right.
I
Like, and if
mean,
the
it's
sand is
all
too
pearly.
fine, like if the sand is too fine for the roots, maybe the roots will rot, but the rest of the plant would just detach
It'll
from
just
the
grow
substrate and it
floated.
would
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a matter of sometimes they don't convert well. And maybe it has to do with water chemistry or carbon access. But I like when I first got pearlweed, I bought 2 pots of it from Aquarium Co-op and I planted them on one on each end of the tank. One of them is responsible for all the pearlweed I've had in the last 5 years, and the other one just didn't do any. It just melted back and didn't come back.
But all you
And I have
need is
no idea
one.
why.
All you
Yeah,
need is one. So
exactly.
yeah, I would suggest trying to get it from a club auction. And it's if you live near a local club that has auctions, that's a plant that comes to auction a lot because it's a common easy weed. So that's what I would suggest.
Hmm.
So Emily says some people put their carnivores, like their carnivorous plants, like not your pet cat. Don't put your cat in the fridge. That's another thing you can do too. My only caveat with that is make sure like it's a dedicated, like little separate fridge, not your food fridge, because you know, a lot of us keep fruit in the fridge, right? Like apples or bananas or oranges or anything like that. And fruits, they release ethylene gas as a hormone. Not all fruits, climactic fruits, they will release ethylene gas. And that is what ripens the fruit. Well, it also promotes things to spoil that are in dormancy. So you don't want to do that. So for instance, if you're keeping like bulbs like that you want to grow later, like amaryllis or something, you don't want to put them in your fridge with your apples. So that's my only caveat. Like get a little dorm fridge.
So if you have a basket of apples and you hang some bananas on top of the apples, are the apples responsible for making those bananas go bad faster?
Well, the bananas also make their own ethylene gas.
Right. I'm just wondering
So
if like the two combined, because I've heard about a trick of like if you've got green bananas, put them in a bag with an
yeah,
apple and they'll
I
ripen
mean,
faster.
it can speed it up some. I don't know if it's appreciable because the bananas are making their own ethylene gas because they're climactic fruit. Um, you know, I don't know that it
Bananas piss me
necessarily
off.
makes it faster. Yeah, I mean, like you think you buy a banana and it's perfect, and tomorrow it's like too far. And I don't like banana bread.
Yeah, I'm very
Banana
picky
bread is
about the
gross.
ripening stage of my bananas. I like them where they're kind of on the greener side.
I kind of agree with you. I like them like maybe just perfectly yellow at the most, but once they start getting brown on them, I think they're too cloyingly sweet. I think banana bread is
Yeah.
disgusting.
There's like a 6 hour window of time where I enjoy bananas
I
in the
am
house.
not a huge fan of bananas. They're okay. I'll eat them. I'm not very excited about them. They're the only food my dad hates. God, he hates bananas.
Really. I
Yeah,
like them. I'm very picky about the what stage that I
yeah.
like them in. If they get too ripe, they're inedible to me.
I mean, like if I'm at, let's say, like I don't know, like I remember a couple years ago at the Clash, I really needed something to eat from the, you know, the hospitality room, and there was nothing but like candy and chips and junk food. But there was some bananas, so I did eat a banana there because I wanted something like sort of healthy. So, but you know, I don't usually go out of my way to eat bananas.
Well, if a basket of apples leaves the station at 4 and the train is going 35 miles per hour, how long will it take to rot the bananas at the next station?
You know, and things like that are difficult to quantify because like
Yeah.
temperature also affects like how fast biological processes go, you know, if your room is warmer or not. So,
I just wondered if there's some sort of banana allelopathy going on in our fruit and vegetable area outside the fridge.
it's not a lelopathy because your banana is just a fruit. It's not a plant
It's
growing in the
hanging
ground.
in the air. There's no gradient in the air, you're saying?
Well,
Okay.
I mean, ethylene gas is a small molecule and it does
Mm.
diffuse. However, it's not trying to kill it. It's just trying to make itself right. Wow, Scotty says he loves banana smoothies. Hallelujah. Scotty's eating something that isn't junk food.
He also loves feral banana wine.
I don't think that counts as eating health food.
There's a fruit in there.
So, yeah. You know, we should maybe talk about plant hormones on this sometime. I like plant hormones.
Yeah, you definitely should, because I don't know shit about them.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that when I get back. We'll do a little brief overview of plant hormones. Not all of them affect our hobby.
Oh, do you
So
want to
much.
make a PowerPoint while you're on vacation?
No, I'll just sort of talk about it. I'm not making a PowerPoint in Germany. I'm not bringing my laptop with me. I will have my iPad with me. So I guess if I feel like streaming, I could, because I could stream from my iPad. And I'm only bringing. I don't have the greatest iPad though. It's pretty old. I just use it for knitting, like as so I can see my charts bigger because I'm old and my eyesight's not that good. So.
Oh, man, we're just failing hard, but thank God for Jenna and her emojis.
Oh,
I did see the question about
I
Big
didn't
Steve,
see
but
that
then
one.
like
I just ignore Big Steve. So
screw you, Big Steve.
screw you.
Are you even here, or did you leave in protest that we ignored you?
He's
Man,
done.
how far up do we need to go?
He has an algae issue with his new CO2 tank. Well,
I
first
think
of all,
he remembered something about
congratulations.
brown algae.
So
All right, let me
it's
control
within
F
the
this thing.
brand new tank.
Right.
Brown algae is just a stage to be gone through. Whether you have CO2 or not, it is something that you must endure and it will go away. Just do water changes. With a brand new tank, I like to follow I almost said George Foreman, the George Farmer policy. Every day the first week, you change 50% of the water. Every other day the second week. Every third day the third week. And then after that, just once a week. So, and I think that helps that break in period. I just think that it's something new tanks go through. So,
Yeah, Steve, can you retype the question, because the chat has jumped too far? I can't even find it. I just remember CO2 and algae, and yeah,
something.
George Foreman.
So fun fact, my grandfather was named George Foreman, but he was a small 5'7" white man. He was George Washington Foreman the third. My dad could have been George Washington Foreman the fourth, but he was not. So
Faux sushi, that is a
that's
new
a new
name, and
name. I love
I'm
it.
trying to think about what faux sushi would be.
Yeah, fake sushi. I don't know.
So, when you guys set up a tank, do you use full RO and add in missing elements, or do a ratio of RO and tap water?
I don't use RO at all. I use my tap water. It's good enough. I'm not willing to do RO water at this point in my life. Many people do use RO water. If you use straight RO water, you have to mineralize it, or you have to, like you said, cut it a certain percent with your tap water. And that's your choice what you do. But I use tap
If you
water.
already have that RO system, and you are dealing with very hard water, like very high KH in particular, then I would definitely recommend that you dilute it. You will have a much easier, stress-free time balancing a tank with plants, without a doubt. I mean, I have a KH of 7. You have a KH of 6.
Yeah.
And
you can grow a lot of things with the KH that we have.
It's much easier to just use my tap water than have to cut in with RO, and I have 20 tanks, so that would just be absurd. But I do have a little bowl of Bucephalandra that I use RO water in, because it makes life a lot easier, because I'm not going to be fighting algae in Boost. And it's a very, very, very low light tank with very high optimal CO2 injection, 0 KH. And I bumped up the GH per Luke's recommendation. See if I can get some better color. I took a photo before I did that too. So
nice.
We'll see.
We'll see if that does anything. So I guess our answer is it's your choice. What you do.
If you're willing to do it,
that is
RO helps. Yeah.
Yeah, Dee Dee. So her KH out of the tap, I think it was like 18 or something, or 16.
High.
It was really, really high, and she was not having really a whole lot of luck. And so she just switched to RO, and now she's amazing at growing plants. Her tanks are awesome. I think what she does is she cuts her water with it instead
Mhm.
of remineralizing it. And again, you can be successful either way. So if I did RO, I could grow a lot more species, but I'm really happy with what I can grow. And I'm not really into a lot of stems. And it's just really easy to not have to mess with it. So
Oh, Dee Dee said 22. You're familiar with that number. You had a KH
whew,
of 22. And
that's what I had. Yeah.
yeah.
And I really had, honestly, even with injecting CO2, I didn't have tanks that looked like this. I did my best. I wasn't really in a position in life where I could afford to do RO. I was a grad student. So I did my best. But
It's tough.
yeah,
Like you can enrich the tank with CO2, but it's like the bioavailability of the CO2 when you're battling that
I
much
mean,
KH,
usually
you'll
doing
gas the fish before you hit
yep,
a CO2
yep,
level
that's
that
yep, yeah. It's just, or you can't even get it to dissolve at all because you're in, it's bubbling so fast that it's not
that's when you need a
really.
reactor. Yeah, at
Yeah,
that point, yeah, I would start diluting or the
yeah. I
muriatic
mean,
acid.
yeah, but with KH6, which is what I have,
Mhm.
it's just not that
It's
bad.
fine.
It's just fine. I mean, look, I'm doing okay here with KH6.
Yeah. You can't grow
Pretty
Tonina.
happy.
You can't grow blood vomit.
No, but Tonina is kind of ugly, and blood vomit has a gross name. So
But blood vomit is beautiful. Everyone wants to grow
it is
blood
a
vomit.
beautiful plant. Why did they give such a beautiful plant? And Centrolepis, doesn't that sound pretty? And then they had to call it blood. What bro named that? No woman named that. Some bro named that. Stop broing out my hobby.
Some plant bro.
Some plant bro. Stop ruining things, plant bros.
It's like
Zenny says,
Poro.
what about
Poro.
hygro chai? I mean, that's a
Poro
plant.
bros.
Hygro chai is a myth. Like, if you're Lee
It's
May, you can grow it, but mere
it's
mortals
not
don't.
real.
It's not real. Plant bra.
So Mexicali said, I'm trying to figure out if the lack of water movement or the cooler temps in my fish room are causing my plants to go wild, or is it both?
I would say cooler temps, especially,
Yeah.
I mean, you live in a hot, hot place. And I would, plants would rather be below 70. 75 is kind of where above that. I have noticed because my tanks get a little hot in the summer. They don't look quite as good. They start looking kind of like trash. And
Yeah.
then, by December and January, things start looking a lot better. So it's probably the cooler temperatures. Plants really like flow. And flow
So
is
it's
very
more like
important.
the cooler temperatures are sort of allowing them to
Yeah.
grow better despite the lack of water movement.
Yeah. Because plants love flow. It brings them more nutrients. It brings them more CO2. It kind of dusts the algae spores off of them. So yeah, it's the cooler temperatures, and it gets hot where you live. It's probably a real challenge keeping your garage cool enough, I would say.
I've seen this. Yeah.
Holly says you're stupid and
It's
not even real.
I mean, I have seen photos, very impressive photos of a big pile of hygro chai, and it's never accompanied by how I did it or why it works in my water. It's
Yeah.
just more like, look at all this hygro chai. You want to buy a little piece of it?
Well, yeah, it's like Lee May was selling gloss what is it, glossolepis platinum. So glossolepis is a super easy weed. You don't need CO2 to grow it. It'll overtake your tank in no time. But this was platinum, so it was like white. Had no chlorophyll in it. And she was selling it for like little teeny tiny little string of like 15 plantlets or something.
Wait, you say glossolepis?
I didn't mean glossolepis. That's sorry,
Glossostigma?
glossostigma. Glossolepis, I'm like, oh, that's a
That's a
fish.
rainbow fish.
Whoops. Glossostigma. Was it Glossostigma elatinoides? So yeah, it's. I mean, but like, first of all, I don't know this woman personally. I've bought from her many times. She has an excellent reputation. That woman can grow plants. She's in Brooklyn. They have soft water out of the tap, low K, very, very low KH out of the tap. And she clearly has skills that mere mortals do not. Yeah, I feel like that's destined to die for pretty much anybody who buys it.
Luke
However,
sent
you
me
never feel bad
a
about
sprig of
buying
it one
anything
time.
from her. Oh,
I
what is it? Glossostigma platinum?
no, of the chai.
Oh, the chai. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
You,
I
you,
technically could
yeah.
say I had a living piece of chai for, I don't know, like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Next on the
Aquariums
cook
are
list,
closed to
immediately
stuff.
following aquariums are
They're
closed
not even
systems.
real. Just things of Kelly angrily saying on the stream. Oh well. I mean, she can grow it, but I don't have that kind of water. I can't grow it. I have KH6 tap water. You can do a lot with it, but you can't do everything, which is fine.
Yeah, I think maybe eventually I'll do like a little 10-gallon tank with just
Yeah.
RO and just see
Well,
what
you have the
and
RO
CO2,
system.
and I'll see what kind of ridiculous shit I can put in there that like
Yeah.
isn't meant to exist. And
I just don't think you want to do the work of like
I
doing
don't.
your entire fish room with RO.
I absolutely do not. Unless it starts coming out of the tap RO water, I'm not into that.
I don't want to do it either. But I mean, like, she has RO water out of the tap because I know that New York City has really, really soft water. So her KH is probably 1 or maybe even 0 out of the tap. So, hey, it's not going to piss me off if you grow it. Go forth, do it.
Do
Make
it.
sure you have really low KH water, either RO or if you're lucky enough to have that out of the tap. You also need a lot of light.
Figure out how to grow it super fast
do it.
and just turn it into a weed and
And
saturate the
then sell
market
it.
with it.
Yeah, and send one of your cats to college with the money. So
Good plan.
good. There you go. It's a plan. Is it a good plan? I don't know. So oh, that's a new name. M. Myers, 1987. The fish keeping maniac. I love that.
Yeah, we
Welcome.
seen him around.
Nice.
He's even gone live a couple of times on his own
Oh,
channel.
I'm
He used
behind.
to just be M. Myers 1987, but now he's got the fish keeping maniac
I really
tag
like
to it.
I like the fish keeping maniac. That's pretty good. I'm in favor of that. That's good. So Big Steve pointed out
That it wasn't a
it wasn't
question. He
really a
just
question. Yeah, it's just he's never seen it before. So I think it's really common with a brand new tank, and just water change your way out of it. It's really soft, breaks down easy. You can suck it out with your siphon.
yeah, and pretty much
it will go away.
any detritivore or snail or autosynclus will gladly munch on it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't like deploy a whole army of algae eaters just to get rid of that because it will go away on its
Yeah, I mean,
own.
you could borrow them from another tank though. Like you could put a couple autos from another tank in there, and they'll chow down on it. It's something that it's very common with brand new tanks, and it just goes away. So it's not like I don't know, hair algae or staghorn, or well, not staghorn, that one goes away, but like beard algae,
Blackbeard.
algae. I mean, those are
Well, that's Blackbeard is like, congratulations, you got a mature gross tank.
yeah. Those are harder algae to deal with. The brown soft stuff, it is but a phase. I mean, I think this 90, it went through a little period of brown algae.
All of my tanks, all of my new tanks
Really
too. I mean, I when I was new, I read somewhere somebody said silicates. I never did like dive into it to be like, is that really what it is? It's just, or it's
I
just a
don't
thing that
sand in my tank.
people say.
Maybe I have some in my water, but I doubt it. I don't live in a place that has sandy soil. Like, it's not.
Well, I know that our water has dissolved feldspar in the water. Like that's kind of where the whole cation
We wouldn't.
exchange
I mean,
starts,
we
and
wouldn't.
there's silicates in feldspar. I just don't know how
I
much.
don't think. I don't know. I mean, but we don't have. We don't have. Like, we don't have sandy soil or heavy clay soil, and we're over limestone aquifer here,
Mhm.
so that's just not a thing we have. Yeah.
Oh, June got her plants.
Yay.
I figured most people got their plants on Friday, Saturday, and everybody else get it today. Hopefully.
Yeah. Benjamin Peters points out some people love blackbeard algae. Just ask depths unknown. I don't know. I think it's fucking ugly. Like, I mean, I guess he could just be wrong about things. That's possible. It's ugly.
I don't think it's a planted that's a planted tank. I think there's just a lot of blackbeard algae growing in it.
I guess
Just a
so. I mean,
wispy flowing in the current blackbeard algae.
I
It's
have
such a
had.
fine hair. It traps so much detritus in it.
Ugh. I mean, I have had tanks plagued with it. Not here. For some reason, that's just not an algae I get in Indiana, but I have elsewhere. I don't know. There's nothing that makes me sadder because, like, that plant is just a goner. You've got to just completely cut those leaves off. There's no saving it.
Mm.
So Geek Boy says, I didn't get my plants that I did not order.
Well then.
I guess.
And yeah, I've not looked into the brown algae cause
Yeah,
and the
I
link to
mean,
silicates. It's just one
brown
thing I
algae.
read, and
Yeah, I don't know. People say a lot of things, but they aren't really backed up with a whole lot of anything.
they're backed up by popularity, essentially.
Yeah. I will say, though, that many people have reported with brand new setups. This is something I've observed, other people observed, Steven observed, and it just goes away. So
Yeah.
whether you have sand in your tank or not, whether you have silicates in your water or not.
And the process is sped up if you just do a bunch of water changes
Yeah.
the first couple of months.
Yeah. And there are brown algae that are diatoms, and there are brown algae that are not diatoms. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyone here have some season plants?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people talk about those, but I don't see a lot of them long term. But yours looks really good, Emily. So keep sharing that with us because it looks pretty good. Hopefully, I think it just you need to pick ones that root really deeply that they won't dig up. So, like swords get really nice fibrous roots. But maybe not, like Monte Carlo is a bad choice. They're gonna just dig that up. So
That seems like that'd be a fun pastime for them to pull it out.
I think they really enjoy that.
Do you want to give the fish some enrichment?
Yeah, and they're kind of jerks. I mean, they get in fights. They don't like tank mates. I don't know. I've never kept them, so I can't really. I'm not a cichlid person. I don't really like cichlids, which is controversial, I know, but I like fish to be peaceful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, there are more
Some.
peaceful cichlids.
Yeah, I mean, I've
I
had
community
some.
planted tanks are my thing, and so
Yeah.
if a cichlid can cooperate with community and planted, then I'm fine with that cichlid.
Yeah, I've had rams. I had angelfish when I was a kid. I think that's all the only cichlids I've ever had. I mean, some cichlids are peaceful, but I don't know. June, your idea of peaceful and mine are not the same thing, I think.
I mean, it's got to. They do have personality. It's got to be fun to watch. But there's a stress level with the ones that don't get along really well, or like you have to overstock.
Yeah,
I don't know that world enough to really totally explain why
I
I haven't
won't
got into
tolerate
that
any
world.
plant mates sometimes. I mean,
Maybe
it's
one day I'll get a bunch of them and be like, oh, what have I've been missing all this time? These
I mean,
are
I gotta
great.
tell you, like, if you're from Iowa, African cichlids are where it's at because the water is so hard out of the tap that, I mean, you don't have to do anything.
Mhm.
They're perfectly happy in it, and so it's very popular. but just
You
not
are
my
welcome, June. Thank you for being a member for nearly 3 years.
a long time.
Yeah.
Has anybody come up on? I think I hit with 34 months. I was one of your first members.
I think I enabled memberships at some point this month, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I
Because I
think
know I
so.
joined you and Rico the same time and right away.
Yeah, it was like within a couple of days. So I think it's coming up on this month or the end of this month.
I'm at over 4 years for the co-op. That's a long time. That's a long time. I'm not the longest.
Might be.
I mean, there have been people who are doing it a year. Like I think
There's
people doing it 5 years.
there. Oh, for co-op, they were like one of the first channels. Like whenever
Right.
memberships were being tried out, I think they might be in the 6-year mark for those.
Nice. Well, so Melissa was the first member. Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I am Foxanne's first member. I beat Peplin and Dee Dee in the first.
Nice.
Member numero uno.
Let me see other membership milestone chats.
Yeah, I think
the longest 34 is the longest I've seen, but I
think that mine is.
no.
I think mine is at least on Friday. It's at 34. So it's getting close to 3 years.
Well, cool.
Still haven't gotten my shipment of Rotal and duckweed. I guess I could cash that in at some time.
You just say the word, and I will send you all the weeds.
I'm good. You've sent me plants before.
Yeah, generally whatever you want out of my tanks, if I have enough to send.
You've sent me stuff, so you've sent me crypts. I mean, I don't really want any Rotellas. Oh, Melissa, that is nice and maybe misplaced. Like, is Matt really gonna be your king? I mean, what I'm saying is you could do better, girl. You know, you've got some great cats. Maybe they could be king.
Dogs too.
The dogs too.
Melissa has been hacked.
When Matt is logged in as
yeah.
Boy, I don't know any of Jake's passwords. Like I don't even know his phone unlock number. I never look. I don't want to look at his boring ass phone. It's just a lot of cars and trains and stereos and I just don't want to know. So.
Oh yeah, and you don't need that you don't need to look. So
I don't. I mean, I figured I should write mine down for Jake, like in case something happened to me, But
yeah,
I guess
we know how to unlock our each other's phones. Just
I mean, he could hold it up to my face or something, like if he needed to get some kind of information off of it for some reason. But yeah,
your unconscious face.
There's also nothing exciting on mine. I mean, how many cat pictures can be on one phone? I mean, it's a lot. Speaking of live stream after this.
Yep.
You can see Scotty's and kitty. Very exciting. Mac the kitty. He's a very good looking cat.
And I got some work to do, so probably will be a little break between that one and the next stream.
No, and I've got to finish.
You got packing.
Ready. Yeah. There's always just a lot of little things to do before you go. To make sure I write a check for the girl who's watching the cats, and it's just a million little things. So. Yep.
Who's this lucky guy named Jake?
Oh, well, he's my guy. He's my boyfriend. People have met him. He's real. He exists.
Also, he was on camera at the Clash when we streamed. So if you want to go look at from a few weeks ago when we were at the Clash.
And the newlywed game when you streamed.
That's right.
He was on that. So you can learn what he knows about my fish keeping hobby and the newlywed game. We didn't win, but we didn't embarrass ourselves either. So, so yeah, that is Jake. Jake is awesome. He's a good guy. Yeah,
I
we've been
agree.
together a long time. So. That's only because I don't really care to cook it for myself. It's too much work. So, yeah. Plus, I don't know, like, I can eat eggs and yogurt. It's enough. I don't need a steak every day.
It'd be
Nancy
nice
has
though.
also met Jake. It's true because we met Nancy and we went plant shopping together. So, Nancy and Jake
Sweet.
are pals. Jake says he wants to hang out with Nancy again. I'm hoping that I'm going to go down to Tennessee and see her and maybe a couple other people and go to the Tennessee Aquarium.
Ooh.
I know it's kind of a drive from here. It's like 9 hours, so it would need to be an overnight trip. But I've heard it's really good. You are closer to the Georgia Aquarium. That's like the best one.
I would like to go there
I
eventually one day.
wanted to go there too. I would like to go there too. If you are close to the Georgia Aquarium, you should go. People who are in chat, like, yeah.
Yep. Go to all the nice aquariums, and then every subsequent aquarium you go to is just a little bit more disappointing.
I know. I have been to Scotty's Aquarium. I think I was 10. I have been to that aquarium though. I imagine it's different. That was a while ago. So, but I have been there in New Jersey. Field trip to the Georgia Aquarium. When are we going? I mean, it would be pretty cool. I would go.
Yeah, there was some kind of like event or meetup there.
That would be a good place for an event because I
Mhm.
think it's near Atlanta, so it's a good airport to fly into. You
Yeah.
know? And it's a really great aquarium. So, a good place for an event is not like Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's just not a great airport. It's in Fort Wayne. I mean, like, if you were to come up and visit me here, I'd be like, what are we going to do? I mean, like, when we go there, like, we can eat. That is an activity. It's a great one. But here, like,
I'm not going to go to yoga with you.
I mean, you could.
No.
Nobody wants to go to. That's not true. Jake goes to yoga with me, but I have been unsuccessful in getting any other friend to go to yoga with me. They just don't want to go.
So you will be in Germany next week, and then you'll be back
The week after too, or next week. I'll be back the week after. We'll see if I'm too tired. I don't know.
Like, are you arriving? Are you coming back
Sunday.
home the 18th? That's when that following Monday is.
Yeah, I'm getting back on Sunday.
Oh,
We'll just see
if you have the energy to stream, I'll be surprised.
I'll probably be just a zombie. I mean, maybe I'll want to stream in Germany. I don't know.
Well, yeah, let me know.
This would be like 11. It would start at 11 o'clock, which is not. I don't know. We'll see. But like, if you want to have a different co-host, I would not be offended.
Like, we'll see how it is. If I stream, maybe Jenna joins me just so like I don't miss like 90% of chat.
Also, streaming alone sucks.
Yeah, it does. I'm not good at it.
Sucks.
Not a thing.
Maybe
doing
Jenny will be your co-host. She told me she would.
Poor Zenny, ensuring that she will never stream.
I mean, she can tell you the secrets of how to grow pink flamingo crypts. I mean, that's
she is saving herself for Rico at the Clash, in person at the Clash.
For Rico, said no woman ever. Sorry, Rico, if you're watching this, which I hope you are. Just silently watching this.
And seething now.
No, but I will miss you all. But I'll post pictures on the Discord.
Sweet.
Various German things. So I will keep in touch. And if you're not on the Discord, like, why aren't you on the Discord? You could
go now. There's a link in the description.
It's free.
Yeah.
It costs no money. We'll let you
Indeed.
in. So, but yes, thank you very much. And
Everybody.
I'll miss you all. And I'll see you soon.
Mm.
Oh,
Bye.
bye. Bye, Lily.